Hey guys, thanks for coming to the video. So for this video, I want to go over the Vortex of Putrescence and the Mass of Putrescence spells from the DLC. So this is a sorcery that takes 32 intelligence and 26 faith. It's a death sorcery, so it benefits from the Prince of Death's staff, but the Staff of the Great Beyond is the one that I choose because it scales in both faith and intelligence. So we'll start with the Vortex of Putrescence and I'll go over the Mass after. When you activate the spell, your character shoots out a bunch of putrescent jets that go in a full 360. These can make impact with the ground, and after a slight delay, they shoot Ghost Flame all the way up to your character model. The putrescent jets deal damage if they make direct impact, but they also do damage when they shoot the fire across the floor. The thing is though is, if you hit them with the projectile, the AoE across the ground will do no damage. So they will only take one of those damages no matter what. This spell also deals Frostbite, so eventually you will Frostbite the enemy if you're using it. Since this spell uses both Faith and Intelligence, I thought it would be better to use a Staff of the Great Beyond. I did use a Staff of the Prince of Death, which boosts death sorceries, so I thought that would be the primary one. And even though it does boost them, I think the Staff of the Great Beyond still performed better, especially because it does allow you to perform incantations too. So, if you're already going to have the stats into Faith, you might as well do a little bit of both. Even if you're still going to use primarily sorceries, at least have a good heal or two as an incantation on the side, because that'll help you out. All of the testing I did was on higher level characters, 140 and 150, so I don't know how well this will perform at a low level. But there is a real downside to this spell, which is the range isn't super big, and on top of that, the cast speed also isn't that great. So like if you're fighting people that are using melee or they're not using spells at all, it's not a bad choice because you can kind of keep them at a distance. If they choose to go into you, they're usually going to take one. They might hit you too, but they still will take one on the inside. Against other spellcasters, it's a bit of a problem because if you're going up against somebody that's using just regular glintstone sorceries like Comet and the like, those are fast enough that they'll outcast you and they'll do a lot more damage than you too. So because this spell still uses Faith, I feel like it doesn't properly do the damage that you want it to do. Although it does do decent damage, it's still not a crazy amount for the risk that you put yourself at. I feel like it's much more of like a arena group team kind of a spell that you use in that setting and none others. If you're fighting an intelligence build using sorceries, you should avoid using the spell basically. So now I'm going to talk about Mass of Putrescence. So, sorry to say guys, but the spell Mass of Putrescence sucks. Plain and simple. When I used both of these spells, I used Favored Stardust to put my cast speed to the maximum. Even at max cast speed, Vortex wasn't that great. Still seemed almost like it was even at like just base cast speed. So even Vortex doesn't seem to benefit much from it, but Mass of Putrescence, guys, I would almost say it's almost even twice as slow at a full charge than the Vortex is, which is ridiculous. Not only that, but the AoE might like seem like it's larger, but in all reality, the AoE is actually a little bit shorter. Although you could actually aim the spell, whereas Vortex basically has its range that it shoots at, and that's it. So that's the critique on it in PvP. When it's regular enemies, the spell performs really well. Because against mobs, Vortex of Putrescence shoots a bunch of those out, they'll all get hit, and if you shoot them 2 or 3 times against regular enemies, they're gonna get frostbitten. So it's actually amazing for taking out mobs. Mass of Putrescence is usable against bosses and regular enemies, but it is really slow still, like I said, so the cast speed is going to be a problem no matter what. So when it comes to these spells, specifically Vortex, the range is a little bit short, the cast speed takes too long, and it could do more damage. When it comes to Mass of Putrescence, the cast speed and damage is absurd. Like, both of them need to be fixed as soon as possible. I'm not even somebody that uses intelligence builds. Usually if I'm going to make a spell using build, I'm going to go with a Faith build just because I think they're cooler. But that's just how I've always been. But these two both do need a buff. Vortex is still viable, usable in PvE and PvP. Whereas Mass of Putrescence, good luck finding an opportunity to use that where you're not going to be interrupted. But that's my critique on it, guys. Go ahead and comment your guys' thoughts and opinions if you've been able to use it to better quality than me, okay? If you're able to put it to better use than me, you're better at using it than me, okay? But yeah, go ahead and comment some of your guys' damages, builds you used, stats you used. But thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it.